And students are spending years in classrooms, yet many still struggle to master foundational concepts and even perform at their full potential. Now, the question is not whether schools are working hard. Of course, they are. The question is, are we identifying learning gaps early enough to do something about them? I think it calls for us to pause and reflect on this question. I believe you will agree that technology and data become powerful allies. At Educare, we are passionate about this support to students. And then we are committed to helping schools solve real educational challenges because we believe every child deserves the opportunity to thrive. In the next few minutes, our facilitators will demonstrate how schools can use data and technology to identify learning gaps, make informed decisions, support students more effectively, and ultimately improve academic performance. Our facilitators today are Alex Onya, CEO of Educare, who is passionate about transforming education through technology and data-driven solutions that help schools improve learning outcomes and enable students to thrive. And also, as part of our facilitators, Shola Animashaun. Shola Animashaun is a UK-based educational consultant with extensive experience in educational leadership, school improvement, and management, supporting schools in delivering excellence and sustainable growth. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to the first facilitator, Alex Onya.
Thank you so much, Mr. Botes. Thank you so much for, sorry, I'm going to share the screen now. Thank you so much, Mr. Botex. Thank you so much for having me here today. So, just a moment, let me share the full screen instead. So that's, I think that will be a lot better. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Sure.
Okay, beautiful. So thank you so much, Mr. Botex. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. So we are going to discuss something really important. I mean, the whole goal for parents to enroll their children in different schools is simply because they want their children to succeed. And the whole effort that school is putting in is to ensure that the children actually succeed. So this sums up education, right, from first order thinking. Now, we are putting in a lot of effort. We are having different practices unique to different schools. And every single thing we do is to make sure that our children are high flyers. So the question have always been, what are you doing? Are you tracking the progress? Because, I mean, the modern world today is highly driven by data. Do you know where the gaps truly are? Because if you can pinpoint where the gaps are, it's a lot easier to be able to support children. You know, there are some schools, you see they have 3, 4, 5 high-flying students that probably they're exposed to competitions and the rest. But then when you go to their data trail, you see that a lot of other students are struggling. So we don't want to have those kind of schools anymore. We want schools whereby every single child is a high flyer. And this particular project you see us, it was a collaborative project with the University of
Mr. Alex, sorry. Mr. Alex, sorry. Somebody just sent a message that they cannot hear you very clearly. So I don't know what you can do to adjust it.
Can you speak up or increase your volume, please, Mr. Alex?
Can you still hear me now?
Yes.
Is it very clear?
Yes, it's better than before.
Okay, it's better than before. So I can continue. Let me check.
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Shola, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so let me just increase my tone. Okay, sorry for having the low voice. So basically what I'm saying is the goal of every single parent for taking their children to school is because they want their children to succeed. And for every school, every single effort they are putting in is to ensure that the children actually succeed. From first order thinking, this is the purpose of school, both for parents and also for the schools that are being established. Now, the thing is, how much are we supporting these children? How are we tracking this progress? You know, sometimes parents used to have like a lot of over expectation. A parent, let's say a parent of a child that's 40% brings a child to a school, and the parents want the school to do magic. The promise the school actually needs to give to the family is, we are going to help your children progress. So, but while you are helping them progress, do you have systems that you are using to actually track the progress? These are part of the conversations we are going to have today. When you look at children, there are some children, if you come to a school, you notice that there are usually like 1 to 3 or 5 high flyers. They expose them to competitions, they use them for marketing and the rest. But then when you go to their data trail, you just realize that a lot of other students are struggling. We need to end that. That is why we're going to expose you to more data sets that can help you look at these gaps and then pinpoint where the problems are. You know, normally there are 2 major forms of assessment. We have the formative and you have the summative. Formative is extremely powerful. The schools who use it very well. However, teachers usually don't like it because it's usually so rigorous. But the summative is the usual one we use. But we're going to show you systems whereby you can combine the summative and formative, still pinpoint the problem, and still going to support the children. So a lot of things are going to be discussed here, right? So this is probably one of the most important academic conversations you can ever have, because if you can pinpoint gaps, do some clear predictions, and support your children, and your children start excelling at a scale you've never seen before, I think that sums up all the effort you are putting in school. So I'm going to have this conversation with my co-anchor, which is Mr. Shola Animashaw. He's an expert here. He's an expert in the UK. So firstly, on Educare, so some of the things you are going to see here now, gradually we'll roll it out in all, probably before the end of July, it will be available in all Educare schools. So you are going to see it, some things you probably will not see it in your own portal, but by the end of July at most, it will be available for everyone so that you can actually visualize and analyze a lot. The first point is the performance tracker. We're already in third term. And in this third term, on a general scale, on an average scale, do we even track if our children were improving? Did we even track if our children were declining? Did we even track if they are at stagnation stage? Because these are the 3 core components. If you are not improving, you are either static or you're actually declining. And if you are static or declining, that raises concern. We need to see how we can intervene for the child and also support the child. Even if you're a star flyer, we need to know if you are dropping or if you are improving. So on an average scale here, if I look at these children, I can see, for instance, Shalom. This is Educare demo, so everything here you see is fictitious data because we'll use it for demonstration purpose. So if you look at Shalom now, you notice that Shalom for first term was at 86.85. Shalom is an A student, right? And you notice second term, Shalom is at 88.59. So that means there was an improvement, which is 2% improvement. But you notice something. In third term, there was a slight drop, which is 0.18% drop. We need to find out why there was a drop, because we can't ignore it. So if we ignore it, we can start introducing what we call academic debt. And once you have academic debt, the children will pay for it. So this is just as a scale. If I go down a bit again, you could see, let me pick another child. Let's say somebody like Franklin. Franklin was at 76.15 for first term. Second term, there was a decline, which is 74.28, right? Even with the decline, he's still a B student. But if you notice, there was still a slight improvement in third term, which is 75.79. So looking at this, I can just check, you know what, this is just on average. If I go to subject, let's say mathematics, I could do the analysis for maths alone, I could go to English, I could go to any subject to do this analysis, right? To be able to see how are they improving per subject across this particular session that we just treated. I could also do improvement analysis. Let me say, for instance, overall in English, who did the most improvement? I can see Amos. I can see this, I can see that, right? I could also see students that declined. I can compare between first term and second term, how many people improved. Between second term and third term, you notice that more people improved and few other people declined. I could still do overall. I could still go and check beyond just this. I can check average. So from average here, I can pick the most improved student. And the good thing is that it is always important, in as much as you admonish students for being stagnant or for declining, it is always very important to reward students, especially when they are improving. Somebody that was at 40 and improved to like a 68, that is a drastic improvement. And I think it's important. So at this point, I'll let Mr. Shola speak so that I can break us down a little bit more before I progress. Mr. Shola, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Alex. I want to say thank you and well done to your company for giving us this opportunity to learn about advanced data analysis and for the platform which you're giving to schools to use to improve students and monitor students' progress. So advanced data analysis allows educators or schools to transform. When I say transform, it transforms the achievement of or performance of students from just the ordinary grades we give to them or the percentage we give to them, okay, to personalized learning achievement. So if we use our data analysis properly, we're not just going to be awarding grades, we are going to be personalizing the learning experience of these children. At the same time, gaps in learning will be identified and tracked. Advanced data analysis allows for educators or schools to identify and spot marginal variance in students' performance. As a result of that, schools are able to plan with the children and their parents on the way forward for them to bridge the gap in their learning. So let's look at the data that was presented earlier on, which is the class performance data. So at the end of the year, most schools will have this data. How are we using this data? What does this really show us? How is this data going to be used to inform our planning? How is the data going to be used by students to know where they're having shortfalls or where they're having gaps? Okay, so for example, we can say from the first data shown there for, let's take, for example, for any of the kids we pick up, let's say the first one, we pick up the first one, we can see that there are marginal gains, either a plus or a minus in terms of their difference or the percentage over across the year. But with advanced data analysis, we are not going to be waiting for the end of the year before we identify these gaps and we actually start to intervene. Okay, so before we intervene, we need to for the changes in the performance at the earliest opportunity. After every data capture, so after every assessment, we need to identify those gaps and how are we going to address them. Advanced data analysis allows us to investigate the root causes of marginal differences. So regardless of even the highest flyers, let's say the number one position in the class, okay, there's still going to be some variance in terms of subject-to-subject analysis when that is done to find out why that child is at a certain percentage or at a certain grade. So it does not just flag up underperformance. Even those who are performing, it flags them up and it allows us to plan so that we can see progress. At the end of the year, every child has come to school. We must show the progress they are making. We cannot show this progress without this advanced data analysis that Educare has provided for us. Okay, so possible causes of these gaps or marginal differences are to be discussed with parents at the earliest opportunities. Possible causes can include what? Data, attendance data. Educare platform has a fantastic attendance data capture where attendance can be monitored. So let's take, for example, during the meeting with a child, with any of the children who is not performing well or is performing well or with a gap somewhere, we pull up the attendance. When you pull up the attendance might not be the problem. It might be that the child is attending school. In a lot of schools now, parents take away children from school. They miss 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days out of school. That would have an effect on their performance. Okay, punctuality to lesson, that is a very important one. A child missing 5 minutes at the start of the lesson over a period of time would account for a significant drop in performance. So we look at the punctuality data and we urge schools, when you take your attendance or if a child leaves your lesson, you note it down, because you will need this data to be able to account or have a conversation with the parent, with the child, to say, listen, you're not doing well because when we're teaching this topic, which we found that in this particular topic you did not do well, you left the classroom for 5 minutes to go to the toilet. The child will acknowledge that. We know that because it's on the data. So data capture in school is used to manage a lot of things. Okay, so we're also looking at participation in lesson activity. During that meeting, the teacher will be able to tell us, yes, he or she, this particular student, does participate well in lesson or not. We'll look at that. Okay, the learning styles of the kids, that also matters. What learning styles do they have? It might be in that meeting that they'll be able to say, oh, sir, we cannot actually see this. We prefer you to play a video for us. We do this, we do that. And then the teacher will now know, oh, okay, when I'm planning next time, I need to think of these children and plan accordingly. So very importantly, and something we take for granted, is the reading age of the children. Without adequate data and without this conversation, when we spot these the gaps in their learning, we cannot actually know their reading age. Some children in year 10 or year 11, year 12, their reading age might be that of a primary school child. So that means they cannot actually access the question you're setting for them in the exam. So the earlier we're able to spot their reading age or the gaps in their learning, we can begin to investigate what is the cause of it. If their reading age is really very low, what are we going to do as a school? Okay, we now have a conversation with the parent. Please, can you make sure you read to this child every evening? Can you make sure that this child reads this novel, read that book, and so on and so forth? So we look for how we as a school can support parents and children such that we can make them achieve to their potential. Also, you're looking at behavior and attitude to learn. The teacher and the kids will have to say, okay, my behavior to learning is poor. I do disrupt lesson. I make noise in the classroom. I do this, I do that. Yeah, the teacher will say, look at the behavioral report, which is also captured in the Educare system. Look at the behavioral report. You open it up, you see, on several occasions, you were warned by your teachers because you were disrupting lesson. You were warned by your teachers because you were talking over others. Okay, how can this change? Yes, maybe you now say, okay, we're going to put you on a report. Put the child on a report to monitor the child's behavior. If that is monitored, then that means the attainment of the child can improve. Okay, the homework being given, how is it being done? Is it done well or is it just done haphazardly? Yes, the teacher will comment on that. The child will acknowledge that. We have the conversation to say, listen, you need to improve on your homework. Okay, so there needs to be timely intervention about students' performance with parents' engagement and students acknowledging and looking for solutions to resolve issues which has come up as a result of the use of data to identify the gaps in their learning. The data, advanced data analysis, would actually tell the full story of a child's journey while in school from day one to the end of the session. And if we use this technology properly, we can actually see the progress the children are making at every single time. So Mr. Alex is going to go on further to show us the personalized learning and the personalized subject tracker, the teacher performance evaluation, and all these things are tools which we can use to actually bridge the gap in the learning of our students, okay? So in a nutshell, just to summarize what I've just said, advanced data analysis can and should be used to predict students' progress and attainment over a period of time. So at every time, you are using it to track the progress of your students, regardless of their level, regardless of their attainment. Even the highest flyer will still need to be tracked, and conversations need to be had with the child to find out the gaps. So the use of standardized world-class school management system allows for schools to track behavior, activities, units of work, schemes of work, and lesson plan. So that is why with a proper school management system, all this data is all triangulated when we are discussing a child's progress. We cannot just use one set of data, not just grade A or grade B. No, there are lots of data captures which we need to use and use it to track each individual child's progress. The analysis of subjects by units allows for curriculum development. So with proper data analysis, yes, you have curriculum development and modification of assessment. It allows us to say, yes, we are not really assessing these children properly. What do we need to do to assess them? Because we've checked in maths, unit 1, which is calculus, most children got 2 out of 10. Let's go back to our schemes of work. Let's go back to our lesson plan. What can we do to address this? That is at the school level, okay? So in a nutshell, well-captured data allows schools to manage students' learning journey. And that is why they've been sent to school. We need to create this learning journey for them and make sure that they have a good experience and we can actually show the progress they are making over time. Every child to go to school and know that they've made progress every day. Okay, and I'll hand you guys back to Mr. Alex now, and then we'll join you back later. Thank you very much for the audience.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Shola. So I'm going now to personalized analysis. So at this point now, now what I normally recommend for schools is normally, I mean, I see different schools have different practices. So for early intervention, right, the original concept of continuous assessment was to be able to help identify where the students are struggling early, support them to ensure that before they write the final exam, they are already doing very well. That is the original concept. So some schools have even gone further to introduce what they call pre-test. So pre-test is after every assessment, after every 2 weeks, they do it bi-weekly. After every 2 weeks, they run an assessment in some of these things. So the good thing about, Educare computer-based assessment is, the good thing about it is, it gives you the capability to do both formative and summative assessment in one assessment. So the idea of pre-test is, we have taught you this for the last 2 weeks. We want to know how much you understood this. So seeing how much you understood this or where they are struggling, we can put you on remedial classes so early so that we can close those gaps. Before you write the pre-test 2, we've already seen where the gaps are. We can support you. So before you even write the first CA, we know that because the idea is not to fail a child. The idea is actually for all of them to succeed. So if you can support them early, because what happens is you don't support them, you wait for them to write final exam, you see them performing so low, at the end of the day, you put them on remedial classes. No, this is medicine after death. Because they are progressing to another class, right? And you know how education is done. That is why I talked about the academic depth. That algebra that the child struggled to learn at a certain class, or that polynomial he struggled to learn in primary 2, if you don't fix it down early, the child will grow on with that struggle till the end of university. But if you identify it early, which is the power of our system now, you can help solve it. So I'm going to give you a case study. Look at this, for instance. Some students wrote an assessment in mathematics, right? Here, if I click on analysis, remember, the purpose of CBT is not to just do an online assessment. No, the primary purpose is for tracking. This is the beauty of it. So I want to look at it from the class point. So the class of students wrote this assessment in mathematics, and I assessed them based on these topics. If you look at it in general, the children are struggling in geometry. The students are struggling in percentages. And then you can see mensuration, they are struggling because they scored below average in general. So from the class point, do I need to waste my time trying to support them in these other ones? No. I need to be able to support them here. Do I need to get specialized teachers? I may need to invest in specialized teachers because there may be specialized teachers that may treat geometry, that I can just hire them for just this purpose. They treat it for my children and they leave. Should I need to invest in more training on these places? Yes, because I know where the gaps are. If I look at the questions, You could see the percentage success. See how many people that passed this. If I go down here, you could see this particular question is a lot tougher. You can see only 17.5% of the children passed this question. Now, remember, I'm still on a class point. If you look at question number 2, this is likely going to be the most difficult question because the students spent the most time trying to solve it. So this has already given me an insight. This is still on a class point. If I go back here, I can, let me pick a child that performed so poorly. Let's say this child, Sunny, performed so poorly. Let me search for the child. If I search for the child, let me find out why. Remember, like I said earlier, the purpose of CBT is to be able to help you review these gaps early and know what you are solving. So if I come down here, you could see Sunny performed so poorly in mensuration, in geometry, in number system, in statistics, and in speed, distance, and time. I mean, every single question that came out of these topics, Sunny failed them. You could see in percentages, he still performed so poorly, but not as bad as the other ones, even in ratio and proportion. This is Sunny's unique case. So now we could start looking at so many other indices. We could look at the punctuality, we could look at attendance, we could look at medicals, we could also have some conversations with Sunny. Remember, we are having this conversation early on. We are not waiting for Sunny to get to end of term to start diagnosing these gaps. No, because we want at the end of the day, before Sunny finishes this term, Sunny should be at a 60 or 70%. That is true help. That is actually what it means to help somebody. So now, looking at this now, if we go back, let's pick another child that we feel that performed better than Sunny. This will also help us see how children are unique. If I click on this child, Grace, and I'm going down, let's look at the chart. You will now notice Sunny, who is one of the least performing students, performed better than Grace in percentages. You could see why it is very horrible to be able to generalize performances. Children are unique, their learning styles are unique. A lot of things can permutate to this particular thing. You could see that Grace has some gaps in percentages in geometry, right? So if you are focusing energy for Grace, you could invest a lot or even advising to get lesson teachers or getting specialized teachers or supporting. You know that you are supporting Grace in percentages and geometry. Trying to support Grace in number systems is a waste of time because from our clear data, it's clear that this is Grace's strength. Can you see how we'll be able to pinpoint this? So imagine your school whereby after like what they do in eating is that one, they do it every single topic they treat, there is an assessment. That's one of the things I learned working with Eaton College. Every single topic, there is an assessment. And that assessment, they don't even want you to fall below at all. So from the first topic they teach you and the assessment, they start diagnosing immediately and they start supporting you. But let's say you want to do bi-weekly pretest. After the first assessment and you identify this, it is important that you put in more effort to close these gaps, right? So maybe in our next session, we're going to talk about the effort that you can put and also how to track them. So if you can close this gap for Grace and you're able to improve on this for Grace, what you will notice is that Grace, who was at 12, will probably be at 19 or 20, which is the goal, right? So schools who have access to this kind of data definitely will have children who perform a lot better. Remember, we're not just trying to invest on children who are just five high flyers. No, we want every single class to be significantly above average. And this is the investment and effort we have to put in. So this particular part of the system is available in all educare schools. It's just for you to understand, because sometimes you see schools, they do a lot of CBT assessments, but when you just want to evaluate their system, you realize that they don't even bother to be able to tag the topics. And if you don't tag the topics, what value is your CBT assessment? Is it just to be able to test on integrity of the assessment or be able to save you time in marking? No. Every single assessment should be able to give you an opportunity to be able to evaluate the children's performance. And the good thing is that once this is published, the student can also see where their gaps are. And they can also start supporting themselves even before you start intervening for them. Now that we are done with this, let's look at trend analysis. In the trend analysis now, so I'm going to pick, let me pick year 8 here, and let me still pick year 8 IV. So now, look at this trend analysis. Sorry, not performance analysis. Let me pick trend analysis. Okay. So I'm picking trend analysis. So this is one big comparison I want to do. This child came into my school at a particular year. So I want to know, this child has spent 1 year in my school. On a holistic point, is this child improving or is this child declining? Because you spent year 1, you are spending year 2. Did I help you improve or am I making you decline? Because sometimes you just realize that some schools, what makes some schools horrible is that children can join a school and you realize that the schools make them worse. But you know, parents are helpless. They don't even have access to, even this one we are showing, parents can't even have access unless schools wants to show them. However, if there's no way for them to know, you don't even know that your child is declining. So look at this, for instance. Look at this set of children. You will see that this particular child in the first year in the school is already at 79.41. And after the first year, you could see that there is an improvement. It is clear. This is on an average score. If I go per subject, we will still see them, right? You will notice that this child is improving. If you go back to this child again, right? Let's say Moses. Moses came in at 70.91. You notice that this child didn't improve academically. If you come in here, this child came in at 65. You could see this child improved at this. One thing this will show you is success for every single child is exponential and progressive. People don't just become successful anyhow. If I come in here, let me go deeply into subjects that Moses took within those years. If I go to Moses now, this is Moses in the trend analysis. I could look at it subject by subject, what made up the average. I could see agriculture. I could see that Moses declined in agriculture. In chemistry, there was an improvement. In physics, there was an improvement. In technology, there was a decline. In social studies, business studies, there was a decline. I can go through all the subjects, right? This is from the school point to be able to see, oh, look at the trend for this particular child. So when you're looking at this, it also informs your meeting. So it informs your meetings, okay, no, this is how we need to help. This is areas we need to look. Why is this person going low like this? These are the kind of composition that helps the children. So now, let me look at this other one again. So this time around, I mean, if you have a lot more data, this one will make a lot more sense to you. Let's even evaluate the teachers a bit. You've been investing in teachers, you've been employing teachers, you've been changing teachers. Do you really track if this particular teacher is improving your student? Do we even track if this teacher is improving or declining? And the true way to be able to see this is to be able to measure it on the student performances in average. For instance, I have this music teacher. This particular music teacher, is clear that this particular music teacher is not helping the children in average to improve. Remember, as a teacher, you need to constantly innovate in your pedagogy. Innovating in your pedagogy makes it very easy for you to be able to support the children. Because if you don't innovate, generally your students will continue to struggle. You could see from, say, there was an improvement, still the same teacher. There are some times you may have to change teacher, and once you change teacher, or even you change teacher, you notice a decline, or you notice an improvement. These are the things that helps. So there are a lot of other things we can discuss, right? Like, I mean, some of the things you may use at the end of the session is maybe subject grade summary sheet. In this one, basically, you can be able to look at, okay, all the subjects they took, how many teachers, how many students got A, how many students got B, how many students got C, D, and the rest, you can see them. So this also helps you to be able to, at a scale, evaluate the performance of the teachers. This is just part of the things. There are a lot of other things we can discuss, other merit, academic alerts. These are the things that schools, our comparative analysis, schools can use to be able to actually track and support the children. But with this, I think we've given you like the first move. This is why data is too important. If you don't use data effectively, fortunately, if you're an educator, we'll give you access to a lot more data. Like when Mr. Shola talked about attendance, we capture attendance, we even have the biometric system, and there's a reason why we integrated that biometric system, because we want to accurately track punctuality. Because we've already seen that there's a relationship, clear relationship between punctuality and academic performance, right? We do the assignment, we track your completion rate, because we'll definitely use that data for our analysis. So we also track even the lesson plan, evaluate the lesson plan, and a lot of other interesting things. So this is at a glance some of the things we chose to discuss with you today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for paying attention. So Mr. Botex, over to you.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm sure a lot of people would like to clap, but then we can also hear their claps. Thank you, Alex and Shola, for such an insightful and practical session. And thank you to everyone who joined us today. At the beginning of this webinar, we reflected on a critical question. Are we identifying learning gaps early enough to do something about them? Today's discussion has shown us that while schools are working hard, the ability to make timely, informed decisions is becoming increasingly important. Improving student performance is no longer just about collecting data. It is about using the right data at the right time to support learning and, of course, drive meaningful outcomes. One thing is clear: technology cannot replace great educators, but it can empower them. When combined with professional expertise and a commitment to student success, technology can help schools identify learning gaps early enough and then provide targeted interventions and support every learner more effectively. Right? Here at Educare, we remain committed to partnering with schools in addressing real educational challenges and contributing to a future where every learner has the opportunity to reach their full potential. Before we conclude, we would like to open the floor for questions, comments, or contributions. If you would like to speak, please use the raise hand feature and we will recognize you in turn. We would be delighted to hear your thoughts, your experiences, or any questions you may have for our facilitators. All right, I can see the hands. Isaac Akobu. All right, Mr. Isaac Akobu, you're the first. You've been asked to speak, unmute and speak. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Educare. Thank you, Henry and the team, for all you do. I must commend you. Since joining Educare partnership, I think we recorded tremendous success, especially when we want tailor-made solutions. We've always been able to rely on Educare. So thank you for that and for this session. I want to quickly ask, I know that there is the late arrival feature, because you have mentioned that, of course, all of this is to ensure that we track learning difficulty early enough or learning challenges early enough. Can we also have subject attendance? Because, of course, that's one of the requirements by the ministry. We all have, as subject teachers, we have subject attendance. So can we also have this so that when you are doing your analysis, you can say for sure that it's because this child has consistently come to school late for mathematics. Perhaps that could be one of the reasons. So in addition to the usual present, absent, and on the attendance module, can we have subject attendance? That's my first question. Then is it possible, sir, to have a recording of this session, especially for those of us who might want to look at it again? Thank you very much. Thank you. I yield the floor.
All right, thank you, Isaac.
Okay, so
Mr.
yes,
Alex, would you like
currently we have subject attendance feature. We have it on Educare. So maybe some of the supporting will have that session with you to show you how it works. So we have it on Educare. So, but one of the things we are going to add now for the manual attendance people is we are going to introduce, for somebody that is late, we are going to introduce the time of late. So when you say somebody is late, we need to know that this child is late for 6 minutes. We need to know that this child is late for 10 minutes. We'll introduce that probably by next week. We'll have it available. So that from that now henceforth for the manual agenda, for biometric people, you don't need it. We already track the data for you. But for non-biometric, we introduce it for you so that with that, we can use it for analysis. So when you are taking your subject attendance or your class attendance, you can track it. Another new thing we are going to add for you is for the children who go out to ease themselves or to take excuses, we need to track how long they spent. So while the maths is going on, you left at a particular time and you spent 5 minutes in the toilet. So we want to be able to track that particular data, and we are going to relate it to your actual performance. So when we start having issues and we're visualizing it for you, it will start becoming super helpful. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And for making available this session, yes, it will be uploaded on our YouTube channel, and the link can also be shared with you as well. And that's from Rabeto Schools. Thank you. You can always indicate on the help desk if you need further guidance on the subject attendance that you requested. Our team are eager and happy to guide you through. All right, the next person we'll call or ask to unmute is Osaya Mewer. You have been asked to unmute. Please go ahead.
Thank you for your presentation. You actually did well in all that you have presented. Just a quick one. The result analysis window interface, is it available to all educators or just to agree only? Thank you, sir.
Okay, like I said, we are rolling out these things across different schools. So it's going to be available for the admin, and for the ones that has to do with the teachers and their students, it's going to be available for them as well. So some of these analysis, teachers can run their own internally, right? And for the admin, they're going to have a much more holistic view, just like what you're currently seeing here. So hopefully by end of July, it will be available to all schools on Educare.
All right, thank you. Neka Nwogu, please ask your mute and speak.
Thank you very much. You can hear me, please.
Yes.
Good morning. This is absolutely brilliant. I want to sincerely thank all of you. I mean, it's unprecedented to have a service provider who wants you to really improve by bringing in these kinds of training and then intentionally trying to make sure that you're not just using a system, but you are getting some impactful benefits from the system. So thank you for that. Honestly, when we sit on this side of the world and observe the international community do certain things, and we feel that they are almost impossible for us, but you all are changing that narrative, and I wish the educators can, pay more attention to these benefits and actually implement in schools. I absolutely love the fact that you all understand that absences have high impact on children's learning. But I think to a large extent, the educators may have an overview of what the issues are. But how do we get the parents to understand some of these things? It's only in this part of the world that I hear a parent telling you, oh, my children are not able to come in today because they've gone to make their hair, or they're not coming in today because they want to rest, they are traveling, or they just came back from travel. Whereas in developed world, some absences can actually get you a misdemeanor charges, right? But so how do we then bring our parents to understand the importance, the depth of education in Nigeria? Because we'll all be doing our best, but you're analyzing this data. How are the parents going to benefit from the data that you're analyzing? So it's an issue for the country, for the parents to also be on the same page with the educators. Is there a way we can also have a session for parents? Or is there a session we can hold and bring in somebody from Educare to come speak to the parents? Because we all have to align. We can't just do it without them understanding what we're doing. And then the last speaker made a very valid point. So if we limit to just admins and teachers, I think especially for the college students, they should have access to some of these things. So they begin to also learn, analyze their own areas of improvement. Is it because they are dodging mathematics classes, or they are dodging chemistry classes, or they are actually literally coming late to school? they should have access to this data as we are analyzing. They're also viewing, they are seeing their improvement, they are seeing their decline or their stagnation. This will be my contributions. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you for your comment. Yeah, Mr. Shola, I don't know. Okay, Mr. Alex, you want to react to that?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Nneka. Thank you so much for the valuable comment and input. Yes, so currently we even have some for the students. Like when we looked at some of this analysis, like some of this gap analysis, students at this point can see them. So one of the things I've noticed is that students are usually, after the assessments and they have this, they usually rush there to see where they have gaps and they double down. So even before the schools start for the senior students, for the college ones, even before the schools start even intervening, they've already started putting a lot more effort, right? And they also share with families. So, we'll be more than happy to have a session with parents. We'll probably have a program, maybe a webinar or a big conference for parents. Maybe we can discuss these things. And also there's a new report that we are going to introduce. So it's going to be completely different from your normal school's report. So it's going to be similar to like a checkpoint report. So that one, we're going to match a lot of data. So because at that point, those times that they took excuse to go for this, to make their hair not to come, we're going to have like a clear compounding effect. So you see how that effect may likely have affected your children negatively. So there's a lot of new reports that we're going to bring in, and also have some sensitive parts we can also review to them as well. So from our own end, we will keep improving to see that every single stakeholder is fully carried along. Thank you.
All right, thank you. To Helen, please, you've been asked to unmute. Go ahead and speak, please.
Okay, good morning, Educare. Good morning, Mr. Alex, and all the people in the meeting. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. I think Nick, I've said some of the things I wanted to point out, but I want to say something. I'm yet to start using Educare. I think my school is going to start using Educare by September, and I'm happy to be among the people that are in this meeting today. And one of the things I want to ask, you talked about tracking pupils, students' records in terms of going out, maybe during lessons. I want to know, is it the teacher that is teaching at that particular time are supposed to track the records? That's one. Or is there anybody, or is there a system? I don't understand how it's going to work. Is it that the teacher will pause and record the child going out the minutes, leave what he or she is doing, and start recording the time that child will be going out and coming in? That's one. Then secondly, how do we manage parents? Because definitely you know that all school, not every parents are enlightened, and definitely we want to bring in the system. Just like what Nneka said, I've seen those comments every time, parents saying that I went to make my children say and stuff like that. They don't even call to tell you that their children won't be coming to school. You are the one that will call them to confirm why their children are not in school. So how do you, is it that there's going to be a system? This data will every day be in their phone. They are going to be seeing everyday records. For instance, their children didn't come to school today. Is it that they are going to see the records, the score of their children, that particular day that they show up, how it affected them, and what they should do better next time so that it won't affect their children? That's one. Then another thing is there a way Educare can actually take this training to individual schools? For instance, we are having PTA meeting. We want Educare to talk to our parents. Is there a way Educare can come in and talk to our parents? Either, I know parents are not patient these days to actually pay attention to some of these things, but is there a way that you people can help bring this thing closer to us? Aside we coming together like this, maybe we'll have a PTA meeting, or the teachers as well, because some of our teachers too are just teachers, but they are not teachers. They just want to, get the salary. Even when you're bringing these things up, they do it the first time and they're sluggish to do it. Is there a way Educare will give a personalized learning to a particular school and we get these things done properly? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So yes, let me start with the last one. Yes. So what we are going to do is, I mean, for your own unique cases, we can always arrange for sessions like this, maybe have some of our experts to be able to engage with parents. Secondly, like I said, there's a new type of report that we are going to initiate. It's completely going to be different from all your reports. It's going to look very similar to like a checkpoint report, right? But probably a lot more expansive. So those times that they leave or some of these behaviors, we're going to compare a lot of data sets and also show them how this directly impacted them. So your children came late, you took permission, they are not coming in. Because those days that your children are meant to come in, we know the subjects they are meant to take that day, right? We know the topics they are meant to take that day. So your child missed those topics, your child missed those subjects. So we can relate that, right, to your performances because we have the data. So when we start rolling out those kind of reports, you will see how it is. So because the reason why people do some certain things is there are no clear consequences of those actions. So when you see reports, extensive reports that clearly indicates those consequences and why you are the cause, right? I think it will give you an opportunity to reevaluate your actions again. So these are part of the things that we are going to use. I mean, aside from engaging with parents and explaining to them the implication of every of these actions and the negative impact on the children, and also some of the actions and the positive impact on the children, we are going to do that. Then in terms of tracking how many times you left, how many times you leave. So firstly, we have a biometric system and we also have manual system. For biometric system, I mean, schools that acquire more, they can put biometric systems in their classrooms. So once you want to leave the class, clock in. Once you are coming back, clock out. Once you are coming back, you clock in. Automatically, we capture. We know that at this particular time, this maths lesson was going on. And you left. So for the school, of course, it's part of policy. You can't leave a class without clocking out. So for this particular point, you know you left. And at this particular point, you know you came back. So we're going to use that difference to be able to do our computation, right? And if you didn't clock out, that means you stayed all through the class. So that is how we track that. For the manual one, yes, you have to actually, I mean, once they want to take excuse, you have to actually put it in. So that's why the manual one, of course, we're giving you the platform, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So, but the biometric makes it a lot easier. So this is how we do the tracking, right? For some people asking, is this available? Like I said, this is not yet available in all schools, but before the end of July, it will be available for all Educare schools. We are rolling it out based at different stages, but you will see it all in your school. I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Alex. Let's now listen to Lois. You've been asked to unmute. Please unmute and go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much.
Go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much to both resource persons that have just enlightened us. I'm very excited about the tracking, and we're looking and expectant. We're waiting for July because I'm from Damo International School. Here in the school, we use the Educare as our school management system. We use it for our results, running our results, and for now, we've been using it for our end of term results. But we do tracking, we track the learners and their different progress. When I was listening to how you explained it, sir, the resource person, the advanced way you looked at it, dissecting every area that will be tracked was quite fascinating. And we are really looking forward to the reports that will help us pass that across. We do midterm exams, and we have to do, we in the school here, we had to design our own midterm slips and sheets to make sure that we sent the midterm exam home. So that's also not covered here in the Educare. And I'm sure by the time the tracker comes, I'm sure that the end column of it will be able to give us at least something to report at the midterm, because the tracker will enable us, I'm very sure, to follow up the learners' progress weekly. I'm sure maybe daily, weekly. And then by midterm, we should be able to give parents something on what the learners have been able to, the progress the learners have been able to make after 6 weeks of learning, and not wait till the end of the term where we have available the first assessment, the second assessment, and then the end of term results.
All right, thank you for your comment, Walter Lois.
But this time I'm sure there will be not just weekly communication, but something that will help them to see the various progress the child has made as recorded on our physical bulletin or physical charts that we place in our classrooms. So we also have it in the education system, the school management system, where parents, wherever they are, can just at a click of a button also see the progress that their learners have made. So that would be very, very, in fact, that's a welcome idea, that's a welcome innovation, and we are really looking forward to it in the month of July. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. By July, you will have them all in your system. By end of July month, you will have them all. So we'll roll it out to you as well. And also, I want to also encourage schools should do a lot of CBT assessments. However, the CBT assessment is not just for online assessment. Make sure that your topics are properly tagged. There's also an update we are going to roll out soon, probably before that July. We want to see how we can use AI to make it a lot easier. For some topics you don't tag, our AI system will be able to tag it. And we're probably going to introduce a new form whereby we can also help you to be able to, if you put in your lesson plan or lesson notes, we can help you generate questions, and also all these things will make it a lot easier. And you can check which type of grade questions you want to use, different kind of curriculum. Many of you want to make it critical thinking focused. Our AI system can help you make those things available. But these are the things that probably come in July. However, if you start using your CBT now, it will start helping you on time to start doing this tracking, because we want to make sure that nothing is missed so that we can start helping these children. Because if every single child that uses Educare succeeds, right, for us, that is the whole purpose of why we're existing, so that children can constantly succeed. So that's why we keep encouraging schools. Please make sure you do use this thing properly. It's not just about writing online exam, online tests. No. If you write an assessment and your assessment cannot support the children, then there is already a problem. This is not, school is not for judgment. School is to be able to continuously support the children. So that is a recommendation we make. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alex, and thank you. Please, Lois, we are also encouraging you to reach out to our support and bring your manual reporting into Educare. Just to confirm, you mentioned Dambo schools? Oh, I think you're muted. So did you mention Dambo schools? If you can confirm.
Dambo International Schools, yes.
Dambo International Schools.
Yes, we also use the CBT, but I also liked the way the analysis on the test scores, the areas that the child is having issue with, how it was analyzed using the CBT. That was also fascinating. We're going to be exploring that too. But we do CBT every weekend. Yes, we use the CBT. Thanks for that that provision.
All right. Please do well to write us on the help desk. We are willing to support you in any one that you're not yet using. Thank you very much. All right. We'd like to invite the next person, and that's Kehinde Jonathan, please. Kehinde Jonathan, if you can unmute and speak. Okay. Let's invite Fountain. If you can unmute. Fountain, Chris, are you able to unmute? Okay. Let's give it to John Bosco, please, if you can unmute and speak.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm very excited about the presentation. I've learned a lot today. Just like the other speakers asked, under the admin portal, we do not have access to
Sorry, go ahead, please.
Effectively track result analysis under the managed CBT, which we said by July is going to be made available to us. And then secondly, we also impute our results on Educare and generate results at the end of the term for our students. But what is not presently on the Educare is a spreadsheet for result analysis. For instance, we can view individual child's results, but the system is also supposed to compile a spreadsheet that at a glance you can see the results of the student in the class from 1 to 20 or 30 as the case may be. So I think it will be important that you include the general spreadsheet for the result at the end of the term. Thank you.
Is it the broadsheet? Is it the broadsheet?
Yes, the broadsheet.
No,
yes.
Which school are you from?
I'm from Dabo International School.
No, broadsheet is basic. It's available in all schools. So if it's not available, just write it. The support team will get to you. So that one, you don't need to wait till July. It should be available immediately. It's available for everyone. Okay. It's a basic feature.
It's all right. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, Kehinde, are you able to unmute and speak?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
All right, thank you so much. I was about putting it down on the chat box. So thank you so much for this opportunity. We quite appreciate all your innovation and ingenuity to ensuring that we have a robust education using the Educare. I must commend your effort in the introduction of this biometric, which is very, very important, because for attendance, it is supposed to be marked twice in a day. But by, the subject, the class teachers are the one marking. Once they mark once, it's an indication that that child is in school. And if another subject teacher goes, probably that child will have gone to the toilet or probably just that class. And it is assumed that that child is in school for that day. So I just want to appreciate the fact that you're bringing in the biometrics, that the subject teacher will be able to run the tracking. And so, vis-a-vis the scores. And I also like the fact that you are trying to bring in the tracking so that it's going to be a proactive one, not a reactive one, where we'll be running intervention, remediation at the middle of the term. So when you introduce all of this, the parents from their own point of view will track. It's a partnership thing. They track, because it is not just enough for the child to be in school, it's the child in class. And so your biometric will really go a long way. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the feedback.
All right, Ismail, are you able to unmute, please? Go ahead and speak.
All right. Good afternoon. I want to thank you for the privilege given to me to share my observation. First of all, I would like to commend you for the wonderful presentation you made on how to track learning gap and as well as learning difficulties experienced by learners in our school. But I want to make this observation. Though the platform is robust and it has quite a lot of features, but I also want to say this: if you can improve on maybe I don't know if this feature is available on your platform, instead of doing certain question on CBT, instead of typing, is there a way that one can just upload the question? Because I'm saying this because of when you have to set, let's say, 120 question of CBT, and then you have to type or copy the question one after the other. So it will take quite a lot of time. Or you can as well just upload the question and then put the correct answer and then save. Because I am saying this because some platform actually have that features. Yes, they have, but I don't know if that feature is also available on Educare platform also. But if not, I think it's something we can work on so that we go a long way to helping reduce the teacher's workload. Instead of typing, copying, we can just upload directly, which will not even waste our time. So I think Educare should look in that direction. Thank you for the privilege once again.
Okay,
all right, thank you, Adebanjo.
Okay, Ismail.
Currently,
yes. So Ismail, currently we have it available on Educare. So you can upload via Excel. So maybe you can just write in your group. The support team will help you to just show you how it's being done. Secondly, like I mentioned earlier, we are also making a step further improvement. We notice, and this is why we are doing it, we notice that in a lot of teachers, there's a lot of psychometric gap. A lot of teachers do not even understand how questions should be set. They don't even understand weighting of questions and the rest. And this also affects your children, even in final exams, like let's say IGCSE or exam and the rest. So we're also making it, we're also introducing some form of intelligence. So you can upload, you can type in, you can now use our AI and also decide the type of question. So with that, it can generate based on everything you've uploaded. So that one, we are introducing it as well, right? Hopefully by the end of July, it should be available. So while we're doing it, it can also help teachers to assess the children properly, right? So we notice these gaps and we're definitely supporting. So if you check, you see that what you just requested for is available and you expect this other one. Thank you.
all right, thank you, Mr. Alex, and thank you, Adebanjo. Please, if you need further guide, you can indicate via the group, the help desk, and our support team will be available to guide you and show you how that works. All right, thank you. So we want to listen to Oboso Chika. If you can unmute and speak. Oboso Chika. And while we're waiting for Chika, it's also very important to alert you and inform you about the Parent Mobile app, which is available both on iOS and Android. All right, that's a very good way to bridge the gap in communication in every parent being part of their WORDS learning process. By now, every school should have gotten their code and should be able to introduce this to the parents so that they can download and start using. Oboso Chika, are you able to unmute? Okay, let's go over to Olujumo, please. If you can unmute, go ahead and speak. Olujumo, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for this session. It has been very interesting and I've learned a lot of stuff. I just have a couple of questions. So my first question is simply, as much as the analysis that was given to us that we saw was very insightful, how easy would it be for a teacher to, aside, okay, we've seen the data, we've been able to track it, but how easy would it be for a single teacher that is taking a room full of children, not just one child, to effectively use this data that they have gotten from the platform? Then also, is there a form of this analysis that students can be privy to that would not like demotivate them or make them feel like, oh, especially for the ones that are doing very badly? I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yes, your questions make sense. So let me just show you something, right? So based on this, looking at this place, So the students wrote a mass assessment, right? So I'm a teacher and my students wrote a mass assessment, right? So if I click on this, on the general analysis, as a teacher, generally, I could see that many of my students struggled in geometry. This is as a teacher, right? I could see that they struggled in percentages. I could see that they struggled in mensuration. Let's assume this is after your first pretest. I could actually revisit these topics, right? Revisit these topics, maybe get more resources. This is as a teacher without the support of the school yet. I could revisit these topics, maybe get more resources to see how I can be able to teach it a lot better. When I'm done, I will give them assessment strictly on these topics. I'm not going to assess them generally on everything. So if I reteach this and I give them assessment on these topics, what do I expect? I expect my children to improve. This is as a teacher, trying to handle them one after, because why do you need to identify the other gaps for the children individually? Of course, the school will see it. For someone like Sani, the school will see it. So with this, you can also recommend to families, depends on your school policy. They may be able to get extra lesson teachers to support like this particular child, Sani, that you could see that there is clear, obvious gaps way below class average. You could also have discussions with the school management to see if they can provide further support. At that point, this is where they can start looking at further things. Let's even look at this child's attendance. Let's even look at the punctuality. Let's look at how many times you leave the class. Let's look at your health. Maybe the child is not even so healthy, right? Let's look at your sitting plan. Are you the person sitting at the back? We may have to change your sitting positions. What is the assignment completion rate? We may have to introduce more penalties. What is your behavior? Are you a child that makes noise every time in class? So at that point, this is where the school management can start looking at a lot more holistic data set, because they want to help this child. When you see a child that is probably at this level, let's say this particular child that's already at this level, you could see that the support is a lot easier. As a teacher, what I can easily do is I can just maybe have some personalized session or give more resources for this child and give more assignments on percentages. And what you will notice is that just within a few times, you will notice improvement will come here. So there are a lot of students that there are students a lot easier to support. There are students that require a lot more approach, right? This is where you must involve the school, or you have to involve the parents. But the beautiful thing about this is that you've already detected it early and you've already risen an alarm. And once the right things are being done, the child will catch up with the rest of the class. I hope my response makes sense to you.
All right, thank you. I would like to invite Oluwafemi to speak. Oluwafemi, if you're able to unmute, you can go ahead and speak, please. I think you're speaking, but I can't hear you. Sorry, we can't hear you. So we'll call the next person, Lydia. Lydia, are you able to unmute? Okay, let's try Fountain Chris again. Yes, Chris. You will have the link to this session. It will be available on our YouTube. Please go ahead and speak.
Okay, can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, please go ahead.
I can hear you.
Okay, I want to appreciate the organizers of this wonderful section. It's been a very insightful one. I have two questions to ask. Now, I'm talking about all the students. Where I thank God I've seen that you said you have an application the parents can download that makes it easier for.
Sorry, your audio is distorted.
I
Can
think you
turn
have
the
another
volume?
device connected. Can you close that one and use one hardware? I think you have opened it to two different systems, or just completely turn off the volume.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's a lot better.
Okay, I was asking that. I've seen that you already said that an application parents can download. I was about to ask you, where do you make sure our parents are carrying them? Then the next thing is talking about trend analysis. Is there any way we can do the analysis of the trend analysis for a particular child and share that same page with the parents so that they will understand when you are pointing out some of these particular child on how to make sure that this child improves in a particular subject. So this is just the two things I said I want to thank you.
Yes, we have that available. Once it's available in your school. So let me show you, for instance, here in the trend analysis here, I could just pick a child. Let's say this child. If I click on it, you could see here, right? So when it's available in your school, you see an export option. You can export it, right? And then you can share with the parents. You could see this is just for this child and every single subject, right, across different years.
All right, thank you, Benjamin Benson. You've been asked to unmute.
All right, good morning. I'm sorry, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
All right. I'm calling from Bloombridge Schools. I wasn't paying attention throughout all the sessions because I have an entrance situation I'm trying to attend to at this point in time too. But I was able to get some few things from what was being said. I heard about the encouragement to try to do CBT on Educare, on the Educare platform. My question is this. I tend to have a situation with internal examinations where students can be able to leave, because we use Chromebooks here. So if we try to do an assessment, a CBT assessment on the Chromebook using your platform, students have the opportunity to switch from your interface and then pick another tab and then go ahead and work on that tab. You know, so that creates a kind of a problem for us on as regards to the security of questions, the security of the examination, and all of that proctoring, so to say. So these are some of the problems we face with our own systems here when it comes to, because we use a different platform. So the question is, if we try to use your platform to do this, how are we sure, what's the guarantee that students will be able to jump from one tab, that's the examination tab, to another tab and do any other thing that they want to do, get the answers that they don't need or need, and, you know, rig the examinations that have been given to them or the assessments that have been given? What are the modalities to secure the interface from, you know, device switching pages on devices? On Windows, it will not be possible, but on Chromebooks, which we use, it will most likely be possible. So how are we going to be able to manage that kind of situation? Then also, if we're going to be doing CBT on your platform, is there anything like a proctoring feature that can allow anyone who is supervising an examination see what the student is doing on their device at any given point in time? These are certain things that we might be interested in knowing as far as using your platform for the CBT examination is concerned. I think that should be all for me. Thank you. Okay, so Mr. Benson, so firstly, your question. So in your CBT, I don't know who handles it. Normally in the setups, there are some, this is where you introduce some restrictions. Firstly, you can make full screen mode. Full screen mode means once it's on, you can't leave. If your system, it covers the entire screen. If you want to leave, the system will force submit. It will first of all let you know that
Once you want to leave, it will first submit, meaning that the only time you can leave the full screen mode is when your system is submitting. So once it's on, you can turn this on as well, submit on full screen exit. This is where you introduce that restriction. You can also introduce single sign-in. So the single sign-in, what it does is this. Once somebody is logged in and is writing an assessment, nobody from anywhere can log into the system. So it can only allow just one login. It will keep kicking off every other person because we've already introduced single sign-in, right? So these base security features, right, will actually solve that first one you're talking about. In terms of the proctoring, the actual proctoring feature embedded on Educare, no, we don't have it available. However, there are recommendations from what we see schools do, where they can use even things like Zoom as a proctoring tool to be able to help do that as well. So, but whenever we have those features, definitely we'll communicate with everyone.
All right, thank you, Mr. Alex. Henry, I don't know if you want to add to that.
No, I feel Mr. Alex answered it correctly. So, but we can also have a session with him if he wants us to put him through the CBT.
All right. So you can request for a session, Mr. Benjamin, via the help desk so that we can put you through on your request. All right, and Lydia, are you able to unmute? Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so my question is about the Educare app. You say it's for parents. So I'm a staff and I'm also a parent. I've tried logging in after imputing the code. It took me to this place where I'll put in email address and password. So initially I tried my own email and password I use with Educare. It did not work. It says only for parents. Then I tried my son's details. It still did not work. So I just want to ask, like, which email and password should be used to access the app?
Can you check from the school record? Can you check the email you are using as a parent? Either your husband's detail or your detail. Find out the email that is being recorded on the parent's profile. That is the email. That's the login details that it's looking for. Yes.
All right.
So it may likely be your husband's details. Confirm that, then that's what you need to log in with. Then you can access everything.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. All right, Doba, are you able to unmute? Oluwafemi Doba, are you able to unmute?
We are not doing it.
Please go ahead. Your audio is distorted. Chika Oboso, are you able to unmute? Okay, I think we've been able to take all questions and comments.
Okay, so have we taken all questions and comments? So
Yes.
thank you, everyone. We are going to, like I mentioned earlier, before end of July, you will see all these features available. So some schools may have it now, right? But a lot of other schools don't have it, but we'll roll it out to everyone and we'll keep improving. So the most important thing is that from now henceforth, we'll keep making a lot of improvement that will ensure that our students succeed. So every single child that their school uses Educare, that should be a rare privilege. Because if the school uses it effectively, every single child in that school will consistently improve. And we'll keep releasing data, we keep introducing a lot of intelligence, we keep automating a lot of other things to make sure that we consistently support the children. Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you for making our time to participate in this webinar. We are going to upload the video on YouTube, and we're going to share so that for those who didn't participate or you want to revisit, you can be able to watch it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you also, Mr. Alex. Thank you, all the participants. We hope today's session has provided valuable insights and practical ideas that you can apply in
also
the school.
some of our customers from Kenya and the ones from South Africa, thank you so much for also participating in this program as well.
All right. So we say thank you once again to everyone for your time, engagement, and commitment to this educational excellence. So for those who are not yet using Educare and you're interested in deploying Educare to your school, please feel free to write us an email via support@educare.ng. I take the email again, support@educare.ng. You can do well to write us an email and we will respond immediately, all right? And for those of Educare partner schools who still have concerns or comments or questions, please feel free to channel it via the help desk, the WhatsApp group, all right? We'll be there to attend to it immediately, all right? We would like to thank you all and say we're looking forward to continuing this important conversation and connecting with you in future sessions. Have a wonderful day and thank you for being part of today's webinar.